welcome back to the 75th episode of the Tundra Cast. Today I got Ryan
What's up, boys?
and Rossi.
What up?
And as we usually do at this time of year, we're going to go through our 2023 mock draft for the upcoming NHL Interdraft this June in Nashville. A lot of great young talent this year, as per usual. We all know who the first overall pick's going to be, but we'll get to when we get there. So we'll go through our top 10, and I guess we can start with Rossi. So Rossi, who do you have at 10?
Oh, you want my 10th first?
Yeah.
Well, this is probably going to be a theme throughout the entire episode, but it's a forward. I got Matthew Wood. Name the name gives. How many Matthew Woods are in the league now?
I don't think is there even any Matthew Woods? I haven't heard.
Isn't there the one on New Jersey?
That's Miles.
Oh, Miles Wood. Yeah. He's what? He plays all the forward spots, left, center, right, which is pretty typical nowadays when you go to one of the colleges. He's currently committed to UConn. He's 6'3", 190 pounds. He's 17 years old, but I'm pretty sure he'll be 18 by the time he's drafted. He's born February 6th. I don't remember when the draft is.
Yeah, no, Matthew Wood's a real good player. I have him going in this range in my big board. That's obviously way longer than 10 picks. He was 11th for me. So he just missed out, but really good player. He's he's got a real good shot. He's a good playmaker. Play driver really. He does well with the puck on his stick, entries and such. He's been productive at the college level, despite being very young. His size and physicality and his his NHL readiness is very strong given his age and how well he's already competing against other men in the NCAA for UConn. My one big concern with him is his skating at his size. It's not exceptional. Given how the game is so focused on speed nowadays, but he's a really good player and he's been very productive so far this season for UConn.
As his production goes, he's got 6 goals, 9 assists, 15 points in 19 games so far this year.
Pretty good. Who's your number 10, Ryan?
I have Zach Benson from the Winnipeg Ice. Very productive year this year in the Western Hockey League. I think his big thing is obviously he's undersized, much like his teammate that went last year's draft, Matthew Savoy. He's a bit undersized, but he's got good enough skating. He's a great playmaker. He's a good play driver. His shot is underrated. It's good enough. My main concern for him is obviously with his size, and he doesn't really play a two-way game. He's a very offensively motivated and focused player right now. But I do think the talent is there. He's been super productive. He's got 39 points, I think, in 26 games the last time I checked. Really productive player, and he's taken over Matthew Savoy's role. He's played well enough that with Savoy struggling and not really taking that next step, Benson has really taken that role on the power play as the play driver, as the playmaker. I think he's sitting on the top line over Savoy right now. And Savoy went pretty high in last year's draft. So I think, given the talent, how he's outperforming Savoy on the same team, I think 10 is a pretty reasonable pick for him.
To add to it, he's got 46 points in 29 games.
Yeah, he's been so great in the Western Hockey League. For me at number 10, I got Callum Ritchie, and Ritchie's just a solid scorer. He's a centerman. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I think he plays for the Oshawa Generals.
Yep.
Yes.
Like I said, he's highly skilled. The one thing that Ritchie doesn't have is just quickness. He's not the best skater, and it's kind of similar to Connor Geekie last year, where we know how great Connor Geekie is. Skill wise, maybe he's definitely top 10, maybe close to top 5. But the thing that brought Connor Geeky down was his skating ability, and Callum Ritchie kind of doesn't have the best skating as well. I mean, a team should overlook that. He will be a top 6 player in the NHL. He's a right shot center, which is pretty valuable in today's league too. And yeah, he's having a great year for the Generals. Um, you know, if he has a good rest of the year and a good playoffs, he could skyrocket up the board. So I pay attention to him. He's someone that doesn't really get talked about a lot. But yeah, he's very very good. Just he has to work on his skating.
Yeah, 27 points in 29 games so far.
Yeah.
I guess I'll just bring up the points.
Yeah, you're the points guy.
Yeah.
I got the points.
I mean, yeah, Richie's impressed me. He's got really high skill level, especially at a guy who plays. He's 6'2", 187, and he plays like it, right? We see a lot of these bigger players that sometimes don't really play to their size. Callum Ritchie's a skilled power forward, but like Shay mentioned, his skating is a bit of a concern, and we've seen in past drafts, right? And that was the reason why I wasn't high on Connor Geeky last year at all. I had him going like mid-20s, and that was simply because of his skating. We've seen big power forwards with skill in the past that haven't panned out. I had Richie at 14, and I do think he will pan out despite his skating, because I think all of his other skill sets are all like NHL level. Like they will translate to the NHL level. So definitely a top 15 pick and someone to look out for.
Yeah, the main reason I've overlooked him is his skating, and I always am a bit wary about skating, like when you're not that great at skating when you're a center.
Yeah, for sure. Number 9, Rossi.
I have Dalibor Dvorsky. I probably butchered that
Wow,
name.
Dvorsky 9,
Yeah,
huh?
9, eh?
That's shocking.
What do you guys think? You should have gone up more.
I have it near I won't say where, but I have him in my top 5.
Oh damn! I don't know. Like,
he's a bit higher for me.
There was just, I don't know. For me, there was just so many guys that I really liked. Like, there's just so many prospects that I like in this draft. To be honest,
It's a very good draft for forwards.
Yeah,
it's a very good draft.
It's an extremely good draft if you're a forward this year. Yeah, but I like his play. He's 6'1", 201 pounds. Again, just like everybody else mentioned so far, he's 17 years old. He's a center out of Slovakia. He's currently playing in
I think it's the Swedish second league.
Yeah, he's in Hockey Allsvenskan, which is where Forsberg played. I don't know if there's any other notable prospects or players from there that I can think of at the moment. He's currently has 8 points in 21 games, so obviously that's kind of might hunker his stock if he doesn't like produce more. But I think definitely, even though he's not produced much right now in the league, we could see him jump. I mean, obviously, Shay has him in his top 5 for a reason, from what he says at least. I mean, he might not be. This might be an ultimate play, and he's just about to say, "Oh, I also have him 9." But yeah, he's definitely got some upside. But I think he's one of the more raw prospects out of the draft.
Okay, that's a fair argument. I guess. Ryan. Number 9.
So at number 9, I have Nate Danielson of the Brandon Wheat Kings, I believe. I'm pretty sure he still plays there. And he's one of like my guys. So I have a couple of guys bolded at different ranges of the draft that I consider my guys, where it's like if I had a team that was picking in that range, like these would be guys that I'm really looking at. And Nate Danielson is one of them. I think he's one of the most complete players in this class if you take away his shooting. He does have, I think, 14 goals this season. Last time I checked, he had 14 goals on the season, which, would think, he's a great finisher. But really, the worst part of Danielson's game is probably his shooting and his finishing ability. But he's a great play driver. He's a really good skater. I think his playmaking is very underrated, and there's a lot of really good forwards in this year's class, but I will be honest, there's not a ton of them where their two-way game has really impressed me. And Nate Danielson has been one of those guys where I've looked at and I've said, you know what, this guy, I can see him playing, a two-way game at the NHL level. He has that 200-foot game. I've been really impressed with him this season. He's been productive. He's been playing very physical. He's got a great hockey IQ. This is one of my guys. Unfortunately, I don't think he's going to be at the World Juniors, but when he makes the team, and that's a when, not if, when he makes the team next year, he's gonna be one of the guys I'm really excited to watch because I think he will fit perfectly on any third line in the NHL when he develops, and that's like his floor because I think he will be a legitimate top six center. That's a matchup guy that you can put up against the other team's best players, and he can score goals. I mean, well, he can produce offense and also play a shutdown game. So I really love him as a player.
Yeah, two notes. He's got 15 goals, 23 assists, 38 points, and 32 games played. And out of everybody that we've listed so far, he is the first 18-year-old.
All right. My number 9 is Eduard Sale from the Czech Republic. Currently playing for HC Komado, 6 points in 26 games. And like this kid is just immensely talented. He has one of the best shots in this draft. Just so offensively creative. The one thing that knocks his game though is his defensive ability, and a lot of like Ryan said earlier, there's a lot of prospects this draft that doesn't have the best two-way game, and Sally is one of them. I feel like there's prospects higher than him that might not be as skilled, but brings a better two-way 200-foot game, and that's the reason why they go higher. But make no doubt about it, Sally's a top Sally talent-wise, one of the best in the draft by far. He's quick on his edges too. There's a lot to like here. He just needs to focus on the defensive side, and if he can round that out, he could be a contender for the top 3. Honestly, he might be able to push out guys like Michkov, who obviously has the Russian contract intact, and maybe Infantelli. We'll see, but this is a guy that I really like watching a lot. He's so fun to watch.
As of right now, he's got 3 goals, 3 assists, 26 points in the Czechia League.
Yeah, he's gonna be a top scorer in the NHL for sure. He just needs, like I said, the 200-foot game needs to improve, but he is very, very good.
Yeah.
All right, number 8.
Number 8, for my number 8 prospect, I have Will Smith, who honestly should be picked number 1 because of his name. He is obviously 6'0", 172 pounds. He's got. Let me see. So far on the U.S. National Development Team in the USHL, he's got 4 goals, 6 assists in the USHL, and then in the U.S. Development, the one under that for the national team, he has 47 points in 26 games played, and he's a Boston College commit. So obviously there is the upside of him going to a college, which I would say that colleges are definitely, even if not yet, but they will definitely take over the main development way. We can, with a lot of the players lately coming from college being just insanely good. I mean, mention Cale Makar, and that's just one way to prove that. But yeah, I mean, he's really impressed me. I don't really have much to knock him on. I mean, you guys might know more. I haven't seen a whole lot of him yet.
Well, I'll just go ahead and say my number 8 too is Will Smith. So I'm just gonna add on here. The thing about Will Smith is that he's 6 foot, 172, and he's a center, right? Ideally, I feel like he needs to just add a bit more to his frame because if you're gonna as a 6 foot center, I think 172 is a bit undersized for him. He just needs to add that big body frame, but like you said, like he's gonna be very, very good. And that's I agree with everything you said there, so I don't really have much to add on. But the one thing I think he needs to work on is just adding some muscle, adding some weight to his 6 foot frame.
All right, if you're listening to this podcast, Will Smith, start eating. And
Yeah,
Shay,
it's
Shay
time.
wants you to get fat, and I want
No,
you
it's
I
it's
want you
not
to
it's
stop
not
playing
getting
b-ball
it's not getting
in
fat.
West Philadelphia.
It's called bulking up. All right.
Yeah, I mean, what do you call it? So, from my aspect, I have Eduard Sale
Yeah.
or Sale at number 8. So pretty similar to where Shea had them. And we you talked about William Smith being a little bit light at his weight. But Sale is 6'1" and he's 10 pounds lighter than Will Smith is. Um, but the difference is I don't have as many concerns with Sally's weight as in terms of play strength because he is playing in the men's league and he's held his own. He hasn't been
Yeah.
extremely productive. He's only got 6 points in I think like close to 30 games in the Czech league, but he's held his own, and I think we know he's got the skill. We know he's got the talent, as Shay mentioned. He's a good play driver. He's a very good skater, very good playmaker, very well rounded. Doesn't have the two-way game. I do still have questions about his shooting, but for a guy his size, he's not afraid to get in the dirty areas of the ice. And he's shown that he can play with men. And I have full faith that as he gets older and as he gets access to professional nutritionists and dietitians of it that an NHL staff has to offer, he will be able to gain weight and bulk up and get stronger. And so I have him at number 8. I think he's a very talented player. Wouldn't be his grade. So I have grades for all these prospects, and from 9 to 6, these 3 guys I have rated like very similarly. Those 4 guys I have rated very similarly. So Sally could really go as high as 6 for me. So he's a very good player. I like him a lot.
Okay. Number 7 for Rossi.
I don't need to add much because both of you have talked about it already. But Eduard Sale, that's my number 6, 7. What are we at? Right? 7.
7.
I've already lost count. Yeah, Eduard Sale. That's who I have going 7th, and you guys have already said everything that needs to be said on him, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, he's just got a lot of upside.
Yeah, for sure. Now it's Ryan.
Yeah, at 7 I got Dalibor Dvorsky. And really, I mean, I don't want this to be a slight against Dvorsky because I know there's a lot of people that think he should go top 5, and rightfully so. I think he's one of the best offensive players in this class, bar none. He's got a very, very good shot. I'd say he has a top 5 shot in this class. He's one of the elite play drivers, and this class has a lot of great play drivers, and Dvorsky's one of the best ones. So that says something. His skating is good enough. It's not exceptional, but I think it's good enough. He's got great playmaking. He's got great hockey IQ and awareness, right? If you need a guy who will come in here at the NHL level, and be like a 35 goal scorer, 80 point per game, dynamic playmaker on the power play driver on entries and exits from the zone, Dvorsky's your guy. I think he's as polished and as creative as it comes offensively in this draft class, but he doesn't really play to his size yet. He's not very physical. I do have concerns on how his finesse type game will translate at the NHL level on NHL ice when he inevitably comes here, and his two-way game is also weaker in this class. But I just think the offensive upside is just incredible for a guy like Dvorsky. And I really I like him a lot. But there's one guy that you guys aren't so high on that I'm really high on, and that's the only reason Dvorsky's not in the top 5 right now.
Okay. At number 7, I got Brayden Yager from the I believe he's in Moose Jaw. Yeah. Currently has 39 points in 32 games, 18 goals, and that's what Yager is. He's an elite shooter in this draft class. If Cole Caulfield was 6 feet, that's who Yager is. He's just a bigger Cole Caulfield who can play center. He's a right shot, and I mean, there's a guy in the NHL that's a 6 foot right shot center. I mean, his name is Austin Matthews. That's a great shot. And I mean, obviously Jaeger is not going to have the defensive ability and obviously the generational talent as Matthews has. Just a shot alone, I feel like that's what's going to make his value go up. Goal scoring nowadays is much higher in the league than it used to be, and Jaeger's a guy that could probably score 40 to 50 goals per not per season, but a few times in his career. And he's like even though he's a 6 foot guy, he only weighs 166, so that's similar knock to Will
Oh
Smith.
my god, so much stuff about their weight.
Hey, you can't be
Start
6
getting
feet
fat.
if you want. But like
Somebody needs
like what?
we need a 6 foot. We need a 6'1", 500-pound prospect. Somebody start getting on that.
Nah, Jaeger just needs to hit the weight room, and a lot of these prospects are really young,
Yeah.
so they're gonna have more than enough time to grow into their bodies. Really when I look at them, I look at their height first and foremost, because you really like when you're 6 foot, by the time you're 20 years old, you're not gonna be 165 anymore. You're gonna be pushing closer to 180, 185. So I'm not particularly concerned. But definitely something he does need to add to his game. He has to really commit himself to adding that weight and that play strength for sure.
Yeah. Like once again, one of the best shooters in this draft. And I think he'll go high simply because of that.
Okay. For number 6, I have Brayden Yager. I don't have much to add to what Shay said. Although the only thing that I don't have in my notes is the thing about his weight. That's the only thing I don't have listed here.
Yeah, no, I mean, I got Jaeger at 6 as well, and I mean that shot is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, and to be fair, in any other draft class, I would say he has the best shot in the draft class. He just happens to be cursed that he's in the same draft class as Connor Bedard and Mishkov. That's really what it comes down to. And even then, you could maybe make an argument that he's up there with them, right? But he's easily got the third best shot in this class. I don't think that's even debatable. He's got top 3 shot in the class. His play driving, he's not a great play driver, but then again, he's a finisher, right? You don't expect him to be the one bringing the puck into the zone, because he's the guy who finishes by putting the puck in the net. His physicality, like I mentioned, play strength needs to get better. It just needs to get better. He's impressed with Canada at the international stage, and that does hold weight in NHL scouting. Scout draft rooms. He's played well for Canada at different aspects of his career. He's gonna be at the World Juniors. If not this year, the next year. I can't remember if he made the team this year. I don't believe he did, but he definitely will next year. He was great at the U18s. So Jaeger, incredible player. I have him right up there with anyone in this class.
All right, number 6, I got Zach Benson. Siakam's already touched. Ryan's already touched on him a lot. Just a tremendous player for the Ice. He's like you said, he's up there with Matthew Savoy already. Yeah, just immensely skilled. He's gonna be a great 2-way player. In the NHL. And yeah, that's really about it. He's just damn good. He kind of reminds me of Kent Johnson a little bit a few years ago. Think about Columbus, just a tiny bit. He's just tremendously skilled all around.
Yeah, very good playmaker. I think playmaking is his calling card, which is why he's managed to upseat Savoy. And I think that was really impressive, because Savoy was a very productive player leading up to his draft year, and this year, I mean, he's taken a step back, and Benson's taken a spot, hasn't looked back. Yeah, but I really like Benson. It's just his weight, and I still don't think his 2-way game has really translated yet.
Okay.
But great player. I can't really argue with you.
Okay, number 5.
Number 5 for me is, this one might scratch some heads, but I have Matvey Michkov. Definitely a top 3 pick, but I just feel the fact that he's in Russia right now might skew where he goes.
Yeah, that's very fair.
Yeah, I mean, as of right now, he is 5'10", 148 pounds. But before any of you guys start yelling about his weight, he's got 10 goals, 4 assists in 12 games so far in the VHL over in Russia.
Yeah, he's just amazing.
I am going to go out on a limb and this might draw the ire of some people, but I think he's got a better shot than Bedard. That's
Well,
just my
no,
opinion.
I don't think that's very. I mean, I think that's fair. People were comparing this kid to Alex Ovechkin. I mean,
I mean, the
obviously,
shot's up there, man. Like,
yeah. Like that's. I don't disagree with that take at all.
Yeah, I just think it's funny because I'm looking at my notes, and under his name, the only thing I have written is that shot, and that was it for him. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
even
yeah, he possesses the best shot in the draft by far, and that's like in Bedard's shot's still damn good. That's the thing.
yeah,
you
but yeah,
call it, yeah.
I couldn't I like he should go top 3. If anything, he should go second. But the fact that he's in Russia is, in my opinion, is probably gonna hurt his where he goes in the draft. So I have him going 5, and I cannot for the life of me like put him any lower because even if it's probably reasonable to think that he might drop even more because of him being in Russia, I can't justify
Right.
putting him lower.
Yeah, so my top 10 kind of played into like 4 different tiers, which was 9 to 6, and then 5 to 3, and then there's 2 and 1. So I had a definite number 1, number 2 in my head, and then 3 to 5 are 3 guys that I think could go in any specific order. But like Rossi, I actually have Mishkov at number 5. Him and 2 other players got the exact same final grade as me. But like I said, as Rossi mentioned, the contract that he has in the KHL, and on top of that, I'm I don't I there's a really special aspect to Mishkov's game, which is his shooting, right? But I think the Ovechkin comparisons are a little bit overblown, right? We gotta keep in mind Alexander Ovechkin was not just a shot, right? Ovechkin did have a two-way game when he was younger. Ovechkin was a very good skater for his size, and Ovechkin was also very physical. We can't forget those times where
And
he when he was younger,
he
he
still
just
also
absolutely
thinks
lit up
today.
people.
He still
He
also
still
thinks
does it. He still lights people up with hits today. He's a very physical
Oh my
player.
god,
Very great
didn't,
player.
the game
didn't
against
he
Toronto where he put the I don't
yeah.
remember who he dumped in the boards, but he was just like, "All right, you're going to the boards."
Wasn't that Timmins or no?
I don't remember. I think it might have been Timmins,
It
but
might have been poor Timmins, man. He's been good for us though.
it might have been Timmins. But all of a sudden, he was just like, "You're going back into the bench."
But
Oh, it
like
was
that's what I mean,
hilarious.
man. Like I think the Ovechkin comparisons are a little bit overblown. It's not Mishkov's fault, but like Rossi mentioned, when you're 5'10", 148, it's it you can't really play like Ovi, right? Because Ovi was built like a tank. Ovi was a man in a man's body when he got drafted, right? This is not going to
Yeah.
be the same for Mishkov. I think that of the other 4 players I have on the board, 3 of them will have a better day one impact in the NHL because they're not going to have to spend as much time in the weight room and conditioning to get to an NHL ready body. I don't think Mishkov, and to be fair, you say that and he's been great in the KHL. I get that, but and this is no disrespect to the KHL. It's the second best league in the world, but there's a difference. There are stars in the KHL that have come to the NHL and are not even fourth liners. Like we just heard earlier today, Nikita Soshnikov, who is one of the most productive players in the KHL, has come to the NHL. Couldn't Toronto didn't want him anymore. They let him go, and he just got cut by the Islanders after scoring 3 points in 29 games this season. Right? Like there's still you can be productive in the KHL and not translate at the NHL level. But with that in mind, is for me the second best in the class. I think on pure power and on the power play, if you need a goal on a one-timer, he's got the best shot in the class. But I think Bedard's shot is a bit more versatile. He can get it off at so many different angles, but it's very close for me, right? He's also a very good play driver. But the thing is, at his size, he's not a great skater. He's not. You would expect someone that's 5'10", 148 to really be blazing up and down the ice, using some kind of speed advantage over bigger, slower players. It's not really that. He's got great hockey IQ. He's a good player, not amazing. And he doesn't really have a two-way game or a physical game because of his size and weight. But it is really the shot. The shot carries the day. He's got such, and goal scoring comes at a premium. So I definitely think he's a top 5 pick. But I have him at 5, which may come as a shock to some people.
I definitely think he's a top 5 pick, but I have him at 5.
like not higher. Like some people will think he's a top 3 pick, and I can't argue with that, right?
Yeah,
He got
no.
the same score as my number 3 pick, but
Yeah.
I personally have him at 5.
Okay. Number 5, I got Dalibor Dvorsky. I mean, both of you guys touched on him already, so I don't really have much to add. I just think that once again, he's one of the better, highly skilled forwards in this draft, and he was very hyped up coming in. So I feel like reasons for that. That's why he still goes in this spot. But if he falls, that wouldn't be too shocking either. And I know we've been talking about size a lot,
Oh
and this
God.
is one of the few guys that at his 6'1" frame, he's 190. So his build's fine for the most part. He's a pretty big bodied kid. And like you said, the 2-way game needs some work. Um, and I feel like that he will get better in that area as he matures, as he gets to North America and all that stuff. But yeah, he just has superb offensive instincts, and yeah, I got him at 5.
Yeah, a quick note: if you're watching this, Delabor, don't gain any weight. That way, otherwise Jack Edwards will call you fat.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh
then
man.
even though you're making millions of dollars, you're gonna like have to do like a fundraiser thing for some reason instead of just being like, all right, just
Hey,
kill
look,
me.
man. That Albor, my boy, you're 185, 190. Play like it, man. Like he's got the frame to be a real power,
Wait a minute.
like a real strong on the puck.
Wait,
He's just I don't know, man. He doesn't have the play strength to me right
wait,
now.
wait,
Like
wait, wait.
you got the weight there. You got to play like it.
He's not 190 though. He's 201.
Hey, hey.
My my on Dauber prospects it says 190, so don't get mad at me.
I'm not getting mad at you. It's just everywhere I look, it says he's 201.
Hey, look.
Are you
He may
are you
metrically
sure?
be 201.
Hockey DB says 190 as well. What the fuck are you looking at?
I don't. What the? Okay,
Only
well,
elite,
apparent.
only elite prospects has him at 201. Everywhere else, my NHL mock draft, yeah, 190. Everyone else has to have 190. So don't get mad at me.
I'm not. I wasn't getting mad. I just think it's funny that
Well,
you
All I'm saying is, regardless of what his listed weight is, he doesn't play like it.
Oh yeah.
Not yet. But I think that's because he has so much skill. He can't help but play a finesse style, and because he doesn't have those defensive instincts, I don't think he really tries that hard defensively. I'm gonna be honest, and that's why it doesn't really show up on tape. But I think once he comes to NHL level, I think those things can get ironed out.
is he like
He's a great
Ovi
player.
in like what years was that where Ovi like anytime the puck was on the defensive side, it looked like when your controller dies in the middle of playing NHL, you would just like stand there. And he was like, "What are you doing?"
It's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's just he's just not very strong on puck battles in the defensive end. He's not a great forechecker. He's just when he has the puck, he's incredible. When his team has the puck, he's incredible. But it's on the other half of the ice. He needs some work. He needs to play stronger. He needs to push guys out of the way. He needs to be stronger when he's trying to take pucks off of guys. He needs to play a stronger 2-way game. That's my only thing with him.
Yeah.
If he can do that, like he could easily go over Mishkov for me. Like that's how good I think he can be. It's just he hasn't really applied himself on the defensive end yet.
Okay, number 4.
Honestly, yeah. Well, just one more thing about Dvorsky. Honestly, in my opinion, I like when bigger guys like that can play a more elusive game because it shows that if they can't rely on their strength in a certain situation, they can be very elusive, and it shows that they can do the elusiveness, but then when they need to, they do have the strength to then like, bowl someone over while driving into the offensive zone. But he does need to play more physical.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, number 4.
Number 4, I have Zach Benson. I mean, obviously, I don't remember if it was Ryan or Shay who talked about him already, but
We both
We
did.
both have.
Yeah,
I'm
we both
actually the
have.
lowest on him out of all of you.
Yeah, I don't have much to add. He's 5'10", 159. He plays both left, right, and center. He's currently got 46 points in 29 games played. yeah, I don't have much more to add on him. I don't know if you guys want to add about his weight or something, but
Yeah, I probably touched about it.
Yeah, we have. We both have.
this is literally just the reverse retro thing again. But instead of Patrick talking about stripes every 5 seconds, it's just you guys talking about people's weights.
Hey, I mean, when you're going to the National Hockey League, you gotta bulk up, you know.
But not too much, otherwise Jack Edwards.
Okay, number
Hey
4.
man, we talk about NHL ready players, right? And on at number 4 for me, I have a guy who I think if you took him and you put him in the NHL next year, I don't think he'd look out of place. And that guy is Leo Carlson
Yeah.
out of the SHL. I mean, man, is he a good player. Very well rounded, and he's 6'3", I think like 190 or something like that. He plays like it, man.
194.
Yeah, he plays like he's 6'3", 190. I've been talking this entire time about guys who are 6'1", 6'2", and don't play to their weight. Man, Leo Carlson's a bruiser, man. He's got a good two-way game too. He's a good play driver as well for his size. Like these guys, like when we talk about like power forwards that haven't panned out in the past drafts that went in the top 10, like guys like Lawson Krause, who's actually found his game this year in Arizona, Nick Ritchie,
Yeah.
who has not found his game yet, I don't think ever will. When we right, like we have like a lot of these Jake Virtanen who never really found his spot in Vancouver until you know what happened. But like there's a long laundry list of power forwards that have gone in the 2000 mid 2010s that didn't pan out. They were big, they were physical, they had high production in junior, but they didn't have this. Their skill didn't translate, and they weren't good enough of a skater to keep up at the NHL level. Bill Carlson is not like that. He's one of those power forwards like Slavkovsky last year, like a Kirby Doc, who I still am not ready to write off yet. He's been very good for Montreal this year. Like a Pierre-Luc Dubois. I think he's a power forward that will translate at the NHL level because he has the skill to play at an NHL level, and he has the physicality to match it. And I'm really excited to see him at the World Juniors with Sweden. I'm pretty sure he's on the team. He better be at least. But I'm really excited to see him play. I think he's gonna be great. And he's just gonna add to the list of great Swedish players that have come to the NHL. He's an amazing player. Really love him.
I agree with that. As Rossi sent some weird ass
because that's the only image. I don't know who is editing this, but if you want to put this on the screen when I'm talking about this, for some reason this is the only thing I can picture in my head when we keep talking about players' size.
I mean, it's an important aspect, right? Like you're laughing at it, but like this is legitimately something that
I just think it's funny because
it's why a guy like Cole Caulfield fell so far in the draft, right?
Yeah, I get
like
that.
He was very small for his.
I don't know why it just keeps making me laugh anytime I think about it.
At number 4, you guys had him at number 5. We already talked about this. Matvey Michkov. Once again, I think he personally falls just because of the whole Russia factor. I think he has 2 years left on his KHL deal or 3 years left. And I hope to God he makes the NHL his first year because holy crap, is he is such a fun player to watch. I just don't know if that's gonna happen. And like you guys talked about his shot, everything, his 148. Like me and him basically weigh the same amount, which isn't ideal if you're a professional athlete. But
I'm not gonna comment what my weight is.
Similar to I think I mentioned Brayden Yager, where I said he has one of the best shots this draft. Michkov is the best shooter in this draft, bar none. It just really depends what's happening up in Russia. Once again, we'll just hope to God he makes it to the NHL in his first year because that'd be so much fun to watch. Imagine a guy like Matvey Michkov, assuming if Patrick Kane doesn't get traded by Chicago. Imagine Michkov playing with an elite playmaker like Patrick Kane. Like something like that. That'd be so fun to watch.
It definitely would. Plus, despite the fact that there are a lot of things going on in Russia right now, which make, a lot of players from there get their draft stock and other things like tank. It's definitely a good place for people to grow as players because obviously you play against former NHLers and people who could potentially make an impact in the NHL. So it
Yeah.
is definitely a good place to grow.
I mean, yeah, he's got unprecedented production at the KHL level for a kid his age. So I mean, that speaks for itself. I do think he's an incredible talent. He was number two for me at the very start. When like back like 2 years ago when I first started looking at this class, right? He's still a great player. And I wouldn't be surprised if he went top three. So no arguments there. Like I said, my 3 to 5 are all interchangeable. They got the same grade. So
Yeah. All right, number 3.
Number three, I have the man, the myth, the legend, Leo Carlson. Uh, the only reason he's not two or one is obviously because who one and two are for me, and they're just amazing. But I love Leo Carlson. I don't need to say much because Ryan already said it all. But
And I would
man,
just say right now my number 3 as well is Leo Carlson.
yeah, he's just an interesting person to watch. I'll I'll say that.
Yeah. The
yeah, I mean,
SHL, man, the amount of guys they've been producing over these last few years, my God, that's such a great hockey program they got over there.
oh, we call it like Karamaki. Like
Yeah.
they had 4 guys I loved last year. Like Karamaki, Osland,
Olsen. Yeah.
Ogren, and then my boy Odelius. I'm
Yeah.
really sad I'm not gonna see him at the World Juniors this year. He decided not to go. But man, like
Didn't
Sweden's pumping out those prospects right now. I think he
didn't
got hurt. He might have gotten hurt. But he's not going to be at the World Juniors. I'm very sad that he won't be there. But my number 3 is going to be. This is just like a situation where it's one of my guys, right? Do I realistically think he's going third? No. He's probably going to go like 5 or 6 or 7. But I like him a lot. You guys all had him in your list, but you guys had him at like 10 or like 9. I got William Smith, man. I got William Smith going third.
Okay, to be fair, it's better than what I thought because when you started going on like that mini monologue about like this one of my guys, I thought for a second we were about to hear like a guy who's like Daniil Butt, who's like not even rated going in the first round. I was about to be like, oh god, we're about to hear something
Hey, no,
fucking
hey,
wild.
don't sleep on Daniil Butt though. He is one of my guys. He is a first round talent for me
No,
right
no,
now.
no. Like I'm
I've
just
gone
saying,
through
like
maybe 37 fours.
yeah, like the mock drafts that I've seen. Like I thought it was just gonna be something wild, like a guy who's currently not in the first round, but like should be in the first round, but like the Neil Butt. I thought we were about to hear something wild, and I was ready for it.
Okay, no, I'm not that crazy. Um, look, like William Smith, is really good. He's a really good player, man. Like, he's one of the top 3, 4 play drivers in this entire class. He's a great playmaker. I think he's. If you take Zach Benson and you put him on steroids, basically, or like Mountain Dew, as Steve Dangle would say it, that's William Smith. That's William Smith, man. He's just juiced up. He's a juiced up Zach Benson. I can't unsee it. His two-way game, like Benson, still needs work. He doesn't really play to his size, right? But that play driving is something special. He's a great playmaker too. He's up there. I think him, Benson, and probably Bedard are like the best 3 playmakers in this class, right? But William Smith's play driving is right up there, whereas I think Benson's playmaking still has some room to grow. Smith's also an extremely good skater. He's a great skater. The only aspect of his offense that probably is not as refined is his shot. But it's not even a bad shot. He's been a great goal scorer as well for in the U.S. And DTP. So he's a great player. And I know he's not gonna go number 3, and I just have him there because like I really like him as a player. But like if a team can get him at the end like 9, 8, 9, 10, I think that's gonna be a steal because I think once he grows into his frame and he really commits to playing a two-way game, this guy is gonna be special. I don't think you can teach the way that he can control the game with the puck on his stick. He's one of my guys. He's my guy. But like I said, I say that, and he has the same grade as Carlson and Mishkov for me. So he could. I wouldn't be mad if he went 5. He probably won't go 5. He'll probably go like 7 or 8. But I really like him.
Yeah.
All right, number 2, Rossi.
Number 2.
And I think we know who. I think we know who it is.
Yeah. Number 2 is, if it wasn't for Bedard, I would say this guy's the bona fide number 1 pick. I just really like him. I've been watching him in Michigan, and that probably already tells you who it's going to be. Adam Fantilli. Man, is he good.
Yep. I mean,
He's-
I think we can all say we have him at number 2, so we can all just talk about
Can
him
we?
here.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. Let me guess. You have Oliver Bonk at number 2.
Oliver Bone, baby.
No, I'm joking. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, we all have Fantilli too.
He's 6'2", 187. He currently with Michigan. He has 26
God damn,
points.
Michigan man gets all the best players. Like they had Luke Hughes. They had they had
Beniers.
Manny Beniers. Yeah, they had Owen
Beniers,
Power.
Kent
Owen
Johnson.
The only
My God.
the only college hockey team that I would say produces more talent than Michigan is Boston College.
Yeah, for sure.
But
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
Because
man.
Boldy went to Boston College. Eichel went to Boston College. Goudreau went to Boston College. My God, Boston College is
yeah.
so good.
Fabro.
But I mean, I'm not gonna lie, man. Like the last
Ottinger.
2 seasons, if you want to go top 5 and top 10 in the draft, you go to Michigan. man.
Michigan.
Last 2-3 years, like holy, Matty Beniers, number 1 overall pick. Luke Hughes, number 7 overall pick. Owen Power, number 1 overall pick. Kent Johnson, like the 10th pick, like the 4th pick, something like that. I don't even remember. Like holy, Michigan's been an absolute powerhouse the last couple of years.
Funnily enough, one of the teams that he played for before was he went to a place in the EHF 18U Elite called Top Gun. So let's go.
Hey.
And that's a
Alright,
great
and
name for hockey.
I mean, like we talk about this, but let's just talk about Fantilli for a second, man. In terms of his actual play, like I think he's what we all thought Shane Wright was gonna be.
I agree.
Right, like there was all this hype going to Shane Wright's draft year, like how he was gonna be this elite 2-way player with the goal scoring ability. I think that's Fantilli. I think Fantilli's better than Wright. If Wright went last year's class, he would have gone before. If Fantilli went last year's draft, I think he would have gone first overall.
But you say that, but Wright didn't go first. Slavkovsky went first.
Yeah, I know, but but Wright was consensus number 1 up until the last 2 weeks of the draft, and suddenly he just fell down draft boards.
No, I would say he was the consensus number 1 until the last day, the day before.
And it was suddenly Slavkovsky went in there, and then Arizona already drafted their franchise center the previous season, so they didn't go with him.
And we talked about it. I mean, I was gonna bring it up during the mock draft video that you guys did. I couldn't do because I had my wisdom teeth taken out. But I was gonna mention.
We didn't say that you couldn't do it. You just were like.
Well, I couldn't even talk that day. You
would have been
guys
comedic, though. It would have been a good comedic effect.
It would have been like, Shay, what's your opinion on this guy?
But I was gonna mention if I was because I think I did bring it up during the actual stream though, that if Slavkovsky went out 1, which he did, that it made no sense for New Jersey to take Wright considering the amount of centers they have there, and New Jersey really needed a defenseman and took Nemec, so.
Yes, we also talked about how Arizona scouted Logan Cooley a lot.
Yeah, Arizona
right?
really wanted Cooley.
Yeah, right. I think they had their heart set on him. So I think Wright's fine. Wright's a good player. I'm not low on Wright. I still think he's he was my number 1 rated player in the class that year, right? I still really liked him, but I think Fantilli is just better. He's just better. He's a better play driver. He's got a better 2-way game. He plays more physical. He's a better playmaker. He's a better. I think he's just better. Yeah. And that's not a slight to Shane Wright.
No, it's definitely not. But I would say that we can make a whole podcast on this in the future or something about how the NCAA and college in general is kind of overtaking the traditional CHL route.
Junior leagues. Yeah.
And if any other, how in most draft years that there's your consensus number 1, maybe also sometimes a consensus number 2, and the rest of the draft is whatever, right? Say 2016, if Matthews wasn't in that draft, because No, people don't know. He was almost eligible for the 2015 draft, and if he went there, he would have been an Arizona Coyote, funnily enough.
Let's
Like,
not joke about that.
Like, I mean,
Let's not joke about
but Laine would have went number one in
Uh.
2016, right? In 2015, McDavid wasn't there. Eichel would have went number one. In any other draft year, Fantilli is the number one draft pick. But because there's a kid named Connor Bedard going at number one, like, what else is there to say about Connor Bedard? Like, what else is there to say?
I
He's
mean,
just unbelievable.
I have something to say. Watch him go forth.
You know what? Hey, if Montreal selects first, and they if Montreal selects first and they pass on Bedard, I'm gonna laugh so hard.
They're going to.
I mean, I've only been doing like comprehensive like draft and prospect like deep dives for the last like 3-4 seasons. Connor Bedard's the best player I've ever seen at the junior level through all the years that I've been able to look at junior hockey. I mean, his prospect score for me at 8.84 is like the gap between 1 and 2 is bigger than the gap between 2 and 3, and the gap between 2 and 3 is pretty big, right? From Fantilli to Smith, Carlson, and Mishkov for me, right? Bedard had an 8.84 score for me out of 10, right? Fantilli was 8.53, and we talked about how Fantilli would probably be the number one pick in last year's draft.
Yeah.
That's how crazy Connor Bedard is.
Yeah,
He's got the shot. He's got the play driving, the skating, the playmaking, the IQ, the toughness. Like, my God, man.
I mean, obviously, like, Ryan has definitely looked into like Bedard more. I usually look at goalie prospects the most. I mean, I've said this before. The player that I scouted the most before draft was Yaroslav Askarov, who I started watching like 2-3 years before he was draft eligible.
Yeah.
So like I don't watch like, you know, deep defensemen or forwards as much, but honestly, you don't need to know jack shit about prospects to understand that Connor Bedard is special.
Yeah.
He's literally the next Connor McDavid. Actually, no, he's not the next McDavid. He's the first Connor Bedard.
We're gonna say this, and the poor motherfucker's gonna go fourth, and then
He's on pace.
and then the team that drafts him isn't gonna play him.
No, there's no shot. I will say this right now. All right, if Connor Bedard does not go first overall, I will become a Bruins fan. I will become a Bruins fan if Connor Bedard does not go first overall.
That's not even like a bad thing, though. You just get less pain as a fan now. You go.
No, because I'm a Maple Leafs fan. The thing I hate the most in the world are the Boston Bruins. Yeah, having to like that team somehow, convince myself I like that team, would be the most torturous thing you could ever ask a Maple Leafs fan.
You know what?
I won't be a Bruins fan. I won't be a Bruins fan. I'll like Jack Edwards. All right, how about that? I'll listen to Jack Edwards commentary 5 hours straight every single day for the rest of my life. If Connor Bedard does not go first,
you got to do the same thing that I said I would do. I said that if the Arizona Coyotes made the playoffs this year, that I would get their fucking logo shaved into my head. So you gotta get the Bruins logo shaved into your head if he doesn't go first.
Funnily enough that we're bringing this up, I don't know if I said it at the beginning of the podcast or before, but Chicago, if they could take Fantilli first overall if they win the draft lottery, they very well could.
I was gonna get the Bruins shaved into my head because that is something Chicago could do.
Yeah, definitely.
The only reason why. I would rather listen to Jack Edwards than have that humiliation on my head.
There was a what was it the year before? Because this year I said that I would shave the Coyotes logo into my head if they made the playoffs, and then the year before I said I'd buy a jersey of theirs or something.
I mean, it's a sexy jersey.
Oh yeah, really no. Like it wasn't gonna be one of the Kachinas. It was gonna be one of the ones before that, where it was just like the red with the coyote on it. Yeah, and then was that last year's draft stream where I jumped out of my window?
Yeah,
because I actually jumped out. Yeah, I actually jumped out of my window on stream.
I thought that was just a joke.
No, I said that if Wright fell to like fourth or something, I was gonna jump out of my window, and I did.
Oh, that draft was just crazy, man.
That draft was crazy.
Anyways, let us know your what happened.
I just did a sim of like the draft lottery, on like Tankathon, and I pressed it
Let
once,
me get
and
Chicago
Nashville's
one.
drafting first.
Great.
And then,
Anyways,
Would never happen. Would never happen in
yeah,
real life.
no, you know, it
Gary
would
Bettman, if
never
that happened
happen.
in real life, Gary Bettman would come on the stage, put the ball back in the machine,
He would
and
grab
redo it.
and throw it away like, no.
Yeah, he would be like, "No, we're not sending the next generational talent to Nashville, Tennessee.
No,
There's
we are not
no
sending-
TV market there."
We are not sending him to a team that cannot develop forwards worth a damn. Go away.
That too. But
Yeah.
also from a marketing perspective, he would never allow that to happen.
I mean, marketing wise, what teams do make sense for Bedard? Because honestly, the NHL draft lottery is rigged. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, okay.
Chicago is a historic franchise.
Yeah.
I mean, but okay. No, let's be honest. I don't think it matters who he gets sent to. He's gonna increase the thing tenfold. But because the NHL is so fucking shit at marketing itself, he's gonna go to Chicago or Anaheim.
I mean,
Anaheim.
we call it. I think sneakily Columbus. If the NHL is smart, they send Bedard to Columbus.
I like how we.
Because I think Bedard is a talented enough player to generate interest wherever he goes. Right? People that would never watch Columbus Blue Jackets hockey will tune in just to watch this kid play.
Honestly, that's
NBA?
fair. You increase the market size in Columbus, and they already have Johnny Gaudreau there, Zach Werenski, Kent Johnson,
Chick-fil-A.
Cole Sillinger, Kirill Marchenko. You know it, man. That makes a lot of sense, huh?
Fuck, man. All I'm gonna say is if he goes to Columbus, like that's a scary team. Like, 3
Also,
years
you know,
ago.
like your
Yes,
defense,
very
right?
scary
Yeah, yeah.
considering their record so far this year.
Yeah, but your defense too. Yerchek, Chuck, Coleman's. It's so deep.
Oh my god, boys.
You've got a
Guys,
stacked roster.
I'm so happy to say that I've already been proven wrong in my last cell block video. Tommy Novak is centering a line of Philip Forsberg and Mikhail Granlund.
Are you happy about that or bad? I don't know.
I am very happy about that. I thought we were gonna see fucking Cole Smith centering a line of Philip Forsberg and Nino Niederreiter, and he was gonna play them 2 minutes a game besides Cole Smith. I hate this team. Anyways.
All right. Anyways, let us know your thoughts on our rankings. I know we went for a bit longer today, but that's okay. And yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.